Each week, we meet founders of different projects, we make an assessment of them, we then either hold, sell, or buy more of that project. Let's get into it. Welcome to 1 Bitcoin and 32 ETH.
BTC and 32 ETH.
Welcome back, Hardforkers. An episode that I'm very excited about. Talking to you for the first time, Jeff. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you obviously had a great chat with Mr. Gonzo and Stefano. I think it was a couple of months ago now. You're one of our reviewed projects. You got two of the more passionate people in the Axie space on your hands here, and somebody in myself that's still learning. So look, on that note, I'd like to sort of start off fairly generically for maybe people that don't know too much about Axie. So I guess my first question to you, Jeff, is, you know, this channel that we started back in 2016 is very much about crypto culture. For you, what is the overall culture of Bitcoin and the crypto space? And maybe if you could talk about where you sort of see Axie fitting into that.
Definitely. So I believe that Axie is an amazing way, and has proven to be an amazing way, of introducing different concepts of blockchain to everyday people. So I think one of the unique things about Axie is that we don't just have the, you know, typical crypto crowd. We have, you know, aunts, uncles, grandmothers, of our player base, you know, getting into the game. So I think it's one of the first projects that, you know, rather than just, you know, buying and holding a coin, it's something where, you know, people feel excited about it, to the point where they're comfortable introducing it to their friends and family, and in getting them involved. So I think, you know, that's really that's what we want our contribution to the space to be. You know, I think that in terms of crypto culture, it's an amalgamation of dreamers, of visionaries, of people who are interested in bleeding edge technologies. There's the libertarian tilt of some sections, and then there's the, you know, futurist and optimistic kind of aspect to it as well. And so
is it more than a game? Is it more than a game, and why a blockchain?
Yeah, definitely. So we are starting to see many signs that Axie is more than a game. We are seeing jobs being created within the Axie universe. We are seeing, you know, true friendships and social connections that are happening. So, you know, while Axie is a fun game that people enjoy, and we're seeing signs that it's becoming its own digital nation. You know, somewhere where people can live, work, and play. You know, in a truly digital, accessible and open environment.
Yeah. So I asked Stefano on our show yesterday if you had to name 3 projects that you would be in this space, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and what would be the third. For Stefano, it was Axie. He's the person that put me onto it a number of months ago. And from a price point of view, we've obviously seen massive action on your AXS token and an SLP. Before we sort of get into the nitty gritty of the game, could you maybe just talk sort of, you know, at a macro level about the tokenomics of the game, and why people that maybe aren't gamers should pay a bit of attention to what you're all doing?
Definitely. So I guess just broadly, generally, Axie is a Pokemon-inspired, you know, digital pet universe. You can battle, collect, and earn different tokens just by playing the game. And so, yeah, you know, I think in terms of, you know, there's a very complex in-game economy with Axie, and I think, you know, by default, because we use blockchain, it's open. Anyone can sell any NFT or basically game item to anyone anywhere in the world. These property rights are come kind of implicit within the system. And we try and make it very easy and accessible for our players to do that. So I think, really what we're doing is, combining a fun game with kind of well thought out game economy, while also leveraging blockchain technology to make secondary market transactions in the economy kind of very seamless. Kind of very seamlessly built on top of this, right? So we built a marketplace that's part of the native experience of the game as well. In addition to things like an application where you can battle Axies, we have a land system that's coming out too, where you'll be able to kind of care for your Axies. They'll be able to harvest different resources, build up structures and buildings.
Okay, cool. So Stefano, I sort of put you on the a spot away there. You called out Axie as your top three, Bitcoin and Ethereum being the other two. So I guess I'll throw it over to you for the next question for Jeff on that front. Take it away, sir.
Sure. So obviously you guys have launched the government token, and we're seeing kind of all the spike in pricing and so on, the tokenomics, and kind of the entire information that are put on the white paper. One of the questions that came to me in the sense of with the recent change in the energy model on having the minimum amount of Axie and so on, is there a plan on adding more utility in the sense of the AXL token, for example, on recharging that energy that can go low? It's just an example, obviously. Or is that token gonna be defined as the government token, the revenue token, and therefore the utility is going to be developed more on the SLP, or perhaps on none of the two? What is going to be
definitely.
kind of the development?
I think that Axis is a very versatile token, right? So you have the governance and fee sharing, you also have payment capabilities. And I think it's, it could make sense that there are other benefits that you get in game for staking Axis or AXS. So yeah, I think so. I think SLP will remain to be a breeding potion, and that's kind of the way the way that we see that within the economy.
Okay, Jordan. You're muted, sir.
I brought Puff with me today, by the way.
Sorry, Jordan, second take at that.
Yes, but general questions about the overall view. I mean, I really like the way that you can see the numbers. It's like, okay, you need 3 Axies, and then there's so many users, right? And you look at the marketplace, there's only 15,000 Axies on the marketplace, right? So I'm just interested to see, what in the last month, how many new users has there been?
Yeah, growth is definitely hockey sticking.
Yeah,
it's I think it's doubled within the last month. We just hit 15,000 monthly active users, and
right.
And I can remember just hitting 5,000 maybe a month and a half ago. Right. So yeah, I think what's really happening is that we were building for almost 3 years now, so 2.5 years, building up a very solid foundation, making with a very active, engaged community, with beautiful art, with gameplay that's more engaging than your typical blockchain game. And we were building and kind of building up momentum, and then we hit this kind of level of engagement. It's kind of like a chemical reaction, right? It's like the chemical. I see things in terms of chemistry actually when it comes to growth. We hit activation energy, and then we just saw an explosion of growth. We expected it to happen all the time, but the timing it's just like boiling water, right? It's like you don't know what exactly what temperature the boiling point is at, but that if you keep heating it up, it's gonna happen. So I think that was our approach, and it really paid off. I think this is the result of years of hard work by us, the community. Everyone is kind of working together to advance this project, and I think that's part of what makes a blockchain game special, right? People talk about these abstract concepts of being able to exchange and interoperability and stuff like that, but I think when you have a blockchain game and you have NFTs and people really feel like they own not just their NFTs, but they're owners of the project in some way. And by the way, that's what AXS is also, or Axis is looking to really increase that feeling of ownership within the network. When you have people, when you have your players really thinking and acting like owners, then something special happens. As long as you empower them and and make sure that they understand the vision and you have the right intentions.
So Jeff, on that note, obviously your growth has been pretty stratospheric. I come at this very much from an investor point of view. The two guys here on this chat with us, they love the game. They play it all the time. I think they're also clearly investors as well. I mean, the price appreciation and AXS over the last couple of weeks has been pretty significant. The same with SLP. If we look at the overall crypto market, we've got Bitcoin sort of teetering on an all-time high. What is, for someone that's watching this for the first time and they don't know about Axie, is this something to have a flutter on? What are you guys doing? If you could talk to people that just simply don't know about Axie, how would you describe what you guys are doing?
I think we're building a new type of game that leverages blockchain technology to really reward users for their engagement. So I think that's at its base. We're building a new type of game. It's like when Tesla built the electric car, right? It's like we're building a fundamentally different type of game because it has a different type of battery. That battery is kind of powered by blockchain technology. So yeah, and then we're introducing the world to these to blockchain technology using something that's cute, that's relatable. That isn't so complex, something that your girlfriend, your wife, your friends from high school might be interested in trying out, rather than something that's kind of like seems very risky and, is more like an investment, right? So I think, at its base is this idea of, introducing and hand-holding people to blockchain through something that's cute and fun and practical.
So for a straight up investor, because obviously the Axie companies had a lot of pretty big time investors come in. So your average, maybe a decent retail investor in the blockchain space, are you guys a hidden gem for just a flat out investor, or how would you? Comment on that?
The way that I see it is that all we as the team can seek to do is increase users and volume, the volume being traded in the in-game items. As long as we do that, then Delphi Digital has structured the token to really kind of accrue value based on usage and the number of players within the network.
Okay, cool. Clearly, I've seen the appreciation in the price. My interest is massively spiked because of that. Stefano, I'll throw it back to you, since you were the one that brought me into the Axie metaverse in the first place.
Jordan,
what you were talking about Delphi Digital, right? Did they have anything to do with designing the utility of SLP, or they were just in for AXS?
Yeah, they were just there for access.
Okay. So the SLP, like the design of that was before they were involved?
Yeah, so basically, SLP, we have a lot of people who are good at math and understand like economics on the team.
Those crypto kids.
Yeah, so and then with Delphi, it's we took these broad principles and and we did a lot of research ourselves. We talked to took these broad principles and had some idea of how we wanted to kind of structure the token a little bit, and then they came in and really refined it and honed the vision into something that I think made sense on all cylinders. So.
Right. Cool. Okay. Interesting.
So as a bit of a recap, obviously on AXS as that is kind of like the main token of the entire ecosystem in general. So the token is obviously available on multiple exchanges right now, and there is the airdrop that it's going to happen to the players, to the users, and so on. And then like the functionalities of the tokens are going to be launched at a later stage. Can you kind of like go through, because I know that those are like always the classic questions that everybody asks all the time. So perhaps like, what are the exchanges that are currently available? When is the airdrop going to happen? When is the functionalities of the tokens going to happen? Even if it's all available on Twitter and the white paper. But
yeah, definitely makes sense. So yeah, Axies is available on Binance and Uniswap. I think those are the two main exchanges. It's also available on Upbit and a variety of other exchanges as well.
What else do you need? Uniswap.
Yeah, that's true. I think those are my
the little magic potion you were talking about. AXS H2O. You put a little CZ in there. Right.
Yeah. So and then in terms of the airdrop, so I like to think of it as a gift to our loyal community who got us to this point. The exact timing for that hasn't been announced, but I would say soon. And then in terms of the staking functionality and the staking functionality and things like the community treasury, we're aiming for early next year.
I like that part. The users getting cut into the sales in the marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. So the community treasury, just to go over that for the listeners, the community treasury. So the basic ideas of the community treasury is to start accumulating all the fees that are generated by the system. So there's a 4.25% marketplace commission on all the NFT transactions within our universe. There's also a breeding fee. We'll also have things like more land sales in the future. And cosmetic sales, things that a typical game might use to monetize. The key difference is that all of that will be put into a community treasury that will over time kind of distribute out to active participants and stakers within the network.
Jeff, I'm going to get you to answer this because I told my mother the other day that I own some land in a digital game. And she looked at me blankly. Can you tell her why that's a good idea for me, please?
So what we're doing is we're building a digital nation, complete with jobs, land, places to have fun, ways to make friends and make connections. So I think it can be hard for the generations that came before us to understand that an increasingly large amount of our time is being spent online. The things showing off your physical home, I think is going to mean something much less in 10 to 15 years than it does even now. And I think it's becoming progressively so it's more, I think, like showing off your digital goods and kind of online conspicuous consumption is becoming and will become an increasingly large part of culture, mainstream culture. We are also, land will also have some utility where every pet. So I see Axies as real digital pets. Every pet needs a home, and the cool thing is that they'll also be able to improve those homes by collecting resources. Some of those resources might be tokens such as Axis with real value. So
There you go. Well said, Jeff. Mum, buy some land in Axie as well. Jordan, question from you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all really cool. I mean, maybe the land, is there plans to incorporate, like in a bigger picture, like all of the virtual lands? Is there going to be possibilities to have NFTs going from one land to another? You know, so you could have Axies in Decentraland, and then you could have, you know, crypto voxel characters going into Axie land. Is that possible? You know, are we going to be able to do that, you think?
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about like I guess like, you know,
Interlopability.
one shared kind of metaverse where, you know, some things from one project go seamlessly into others. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. So far, that hasn't been a driver of adoption, in my opinion, just because there probably isn't enough network effect yet. You know, so I think, you know, so far, like the interoperability is like, hey, you can this is the first time that, you know, you can sell a in-game resource on a decentralized exchange that anyone anywhere in the world can access. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you know, a lot of people are bullish on the concept of, you know, NFTs moving seamlessly between worlds, but that's still a hypothesis, and that hasn't been a major driver of growth, I would say.
Yeah.
Cool.
One thing, yeah.
So moving more on the playing side, so in the past like months, you guys have like put the energy in place, the daily limit on the 100 SLP, and now the different levels of energy based on the amount of Axie that a wallet owns. And obviously all of that is because the growth has been like absolutely insane on that side. Was that like kind of like a situation of like trying to balance the super crazy growth, or is this like somehow part of like a specific plan that was like, you know, came together like from the beginning of being like at one point we will need to reduce that, and therefore what can the users and the players in general expect for the future? Are they always going to be able to like get that minimum wage in countries like the Philippines, the Venezuela, or is in the long run actually going to be like something for, you know, the people that already have the money to earn even more, and everybody else is going to be left out?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that, you know, because Axie is a real economy, it shares characteristics with the real world. Capital will always have its advantages, but what we want to do is create a meritocratic system where people can rise up through hard work. So I think, you know, it's always a balance. And I think, you know, in general that, you know, if in order for a token to be, you know, to have it retain some value, you know, it needs to, I believe, you know, it can't just have an exponential supply curve over time. So, you know, a lot of our balancing efforts in the recent month or so are related to that. I think it's something that, you know, we work really hard at, and it's obviously a very complex economy. And I think we've done it many times in the past. It's just that, you know, when in the past nobody was playing our game when we did them. So, you know, you know, there's a lot of contention, I guess, and discussion, which I think is good. It's a sign of growth, and it's a sign that people care. And you know, I think so far, I would say that, you know, we've been great stewards of the economy, and our actions have gotten us to this point. And yeah, all, you know, the people who have doubted us have always been wrong. And I anticipate, you know, I think that any changes that we make, you know, have the best interests of the network in mind. I think that, you know, obviously, you know, we're not at a truly fully decentralized system right now. We're still, you know, it's in the early days. The ecosystem still needs us to kind of be, you know, we're kind of like the founding fathers of this nation, and, you know, we need to think through things carefully, and the decisions that we make have a real impact. So.
Jeff, on that note, I mean, you weren't actually a founder of the project, but in many ways, I guess you could be considered a founder. You were very much a community founder. you're a massively important person in the project. I mean, on that note, for people that really don't know about Axie, how would you describe the actual community and the culture of Axie? Who's the average person involved in Axie?
Definitely. I think in terms of the culture of the community, I think people are curious, hardworking, helpful, and just really positive people. I think we have a great coalition of people, of dreamers, of thinkers, of competitive players, and very creative people, developers, artists, YouTube. Uh, we have one guy named Cloud White who's really a.
I was just going to mention this.
Yeah, Cloud White is really a great kind of poster child for the types of people that we attract to our community. He has a Axie tattoo that represents his hometown color. He's made musicals. He even has his own personal mascot, Axie. And he's made songs, and he's really a multi-talented, multifaceted individual. And I think that he is a good representation of the types of people that we really attract. And I think the community is one of our secret weapons. And we've consciously from the early days seek to really empower them and make them understand the vision. And there's very few people have ever kind of become very active within the Axie community and then dropped off or stopped. It's probably less than 2 or 3 people, and it could be due to like very pressing personal issues. So I think the interesting thing about Axie is that the retention of people who get interested in the vision is almost 100%. Like when they understand it, it becomes something kind of imprinted in their brain, and they have to help with this movement, this revolution, right? So I don't like to think of Axie as a game. I really believe that it's a movement, it's a revolution, and I think that's why I think that's what makes it special in many ways, is that there's a ideological component to it where we all share the same values. We all believe in a more open, egalitarian future, where new types of work are possible, where new types of games empower people. So
yeah, absolutely. On that note, Stefano, you're the one that's spoken at length on that exact topic a number of times about Axie and about blockchain in general. So I'll throw it over to you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree. It's like breaking an open door.
To quote our man Cloud White, value through culture. That's exactly, when I read that, he wrote a recent article, about his Coke Axie. I want some of that. But that is, it's in a nutshell, and the culture comes from community, right? You build a community, they create a culture. You have friends, they make stories, they come up with crazy memes and, just stuff like you can't plan it. It just happens, right? And that comes from getting a strong community where everybody, like, they trust each other, and then it just grows from there. And I think that's a very, very important thing, is that value through culture.
Excellent. Right? Stefano, that was the most amazing ventriloquist I've ever seen there, but I'll let you talk.
I've been wanting to say that for like 10 minutes.
He was like building that in and so anyway, no, regarding like that ecosystem, because it's true, because you start seeing like Axie basically like on every single side of the blockchain sectors, with like the NFTs, the shredding, the memes, and so on and so on. On the evolution of the NFT, on the evolution of the ecosystem, do you see like more of like a user in the community, someone that is gonna like going basically on every single thing that is available on the platform, therefore like playing, farming, breeding, and so on and so on, trading, and etc., or is the strategy and the vision to grow the ecosystem so big that people are going to be focused and specialized only on one or two of those activities? Like on the vision side, which one it's going to be more realistic?
So I think the idea or the concept that you're getting at is specialization, right? And whenever you have a complex economy, you always have specialization and division of labor. Right now, we're starting to see it with, there are different archetypes of players. There are competitive PvP players. There are the farmers, the grinders. There are the collectors. And so I think, yeah, it's only natural that, over time, as the economy gets increasingly complex, that people will divide labor, and their kind of niche within the economy will become kind of more specific over time, and people will be able to kind of choose their quote unquote profession, right? Their profession, or I guess archetype within the Axie universe. Yeah, I hope that's what you're kind of asking about.
Awesome, Mr. Gonzo.
Breeder.
Yeah, I'm obviously breeders. Yeah.
Team builder. I play the PvP and just to understand how I can make better teams, right?
I see.
And it's like, oh, that seems like a shit Axie, but it's got this one little special part, and you find another little Axie with another little special part. You start like, okay, now I've got 5 Axies with all those 2 special parts that make part of a good team, right? And it's not even necessarily like, one good Axie. It's about building that little unit, right? So, and the scholarship thing is so cool, like basically now we've got like 3 Axie interns working for the show, right? It's kind of neat. Like you said, these jobs are developing, the whole economy, super cool.
Yeah, actually, Johnny, on that note, do you want to just remind our audience what we're offering right now?
Right. So I've been breeding since the last time we met Jeff. I went all in pretty much. I took all my DeFi profits from yeah, baby. No, I took all my DeFi profits from the summer, and just started pouring it into Axie, buying SLP, ETH, and just breeding. And I'm up to like 90 Axies now.
Whoa.
So I've just been like, yeah, okay, figuring stuff out. And now instead of just letting them sit there or sell them, it seems like the best thing to do is get other people to play them for us. So we've started that. And then there's a couple different projects as far as scholarships go. So we want people to engage with us and, help spread the content and show why they want to play. And then we'll help them out by lending them a team so they can get into it and figure out, how to play, how to earn, and get some experience in the system before, and hopefully make enough to buy their own team, because the idea is that would be, like you said, be your own bank kind of thing, where people might not have the ability to make money properly online, but with the blockchain technology, you sign up for a MetaMask, right? You get a couple Axies and you can start make a daily income, from anywhere in the world. So that's kind of neat. And having that ability is really neat. Like, I got my daughter into it and all her friends, they're all like, whoa, cool, It's like, oh man, I gotta start.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear, man.
And
yeah, thanks so much for doing that.
She's only 8 right now. And we had a couple issues, just trying to get her iPad hooked up. So I had to give her my old laptop because the Apple ID is connected to the age, right? And the alpha it's like you need to run it on the iPad. There's what is that called? Test flight. Yeah, test flight has an age restriction on it, so you have to be over 18 to run test flight. So the way we got around is I put her MetaMask. I got her a MetaMask, taught her the whole, like, these are your seed words, you got to write them down and keep them safe. The first time she lost it. She totally lost it. And I was like, oh god, hopefully it's still logged in. It was still logged in. We re-exported the seed words, write them down, put it in a safe place. She put it on a little piece of paper and stuffed it somewhere, and her mom lost it. So now she figured it, oh, okay, I got to keep this safe. My Axies are in there. Yeah. So it's really cool to see that, like, that digital ownership, right? So.
Awesome, Jeff. I know we caught you right in the middle of something today, so we'll keep it short. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us again. Would love to have you on again. Before we go, Stefano, do you have any just a closing question or comment from both you guys?
Exactly, the closing one. So I saw on Twitter a couple of people that are starting like posting the option of like sponsoring official esports team for Axie. When are we gonna have the official annual Axie Cup tournament or whatever? When that is gonna happen, basically?
Yeah, so we have a burgeoning competitive PvP scene, and yeah, we definitely see that as being an integral and important part of Axie's future. Yeah, we do have, you know, many large projects seeking to, you know, have their own cup. So, you know, I think we have a lot of, you know, community hosted tournaments, and you know, it's growing, it's getting momentum, it's growing over time. And you know, I think that's going to be a very important part of the Axie ecosystem. And so, yeah, you know, really, you know, shout out to people like Chief and Axie SB, you know, who are doing a lot to, you know, host different streams for tournaments, and you know, there are many others, and you know, we have people who are, you know, very competitive, and you know, can be even considered pro, you know, Axie battlers, like people like Nate, who's from the Philippines actually, and as well as Indez, who's kind of like this genius kid from the UK, as well as RC Tech. So yeah, there are a lot of people who take it very seriously, and that scene is definitely growing over time.
Speaking of taking it very seriously, Mr. Gonzo, last question from you.
Just connected to what you were just talking about. Is there a plan maybe in the PvP to have, you know, like it's almost like poker where you buy in? So I want to fight Stefano, and we're going to put like, I'm going to put 100 SLP in, he's going to put in 100 SLP in, and then we battle. And then
yeah, definitely.
Takes
so
the pot.
So features like that are really important for scaling the distributions to the community treasury over time. And you know, so basically, imagine if we had that natively enabled within our platform, and then you took a, you know, small fee for the ecosystem, but that really goes, you know, to the AXS holders, right? So certain things like that are definitely needed long term to, you know, continue scaling that treasury. And yeah, obviously, I think it's just fun and makes it easier to organize tournaments and competitive.
Trash talk your buddy, take his SLP. Yeah,
definitely.
Awesome. Hey, listen, Jeff, we thank you so much for your time coming on the channel again with us. Would love to have you back again. I understand you're super busy today, and you know, jumped on last minute with us. Hugely appreciated. We're all big fans. So thank you, sir, and we hope to see you again soon.
Well, thanks for having me. You know, one of the things that I really like about coming here is, you know, you guys, Stefano and Johnny, you know, really know about the game and play the game.
Oh, you have, oh my Lord.
So, you know, that's one of the
24/7
things that I really love about this. So, yeah, much love. Yeah, thanks for spreading the word, and, you know, happy to jump on whenever you guys want to chat more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Cheers, Jeff. Thanks very much. And to everyone watching, obviously we've got those scholarships on offer. Links are below. Get involved. We want to hear from you. Cheers now.
Awesome, guys.
See you
Have a
soon.
good day.